Hello, welcome to Localization today. We're really happy to have you with us. Yet another live conversation from different parts of the world. We were having some tech difficulties from the point of view of not clicking on the live option. In this case, me. I had to hit join, and I just saw myself in the backstage, and I was waiting. But it was my fault. My sincere apologies. So we'll get right to it. Anyways, like I said, welcome to Localization today. Thank you for joining us. I'm Eddie Arrieta, CEO of Multilingual Media. I'll be your host today in today's panel, which is called Beyond Visibility: Representation, Belonging, and Impact in Localization. Before we begin, of course, we'd like to thank everyone who is joining us. We've seen some of the comments already. Looking forward for this, and of course, one of the things I love the most about our industry is that we truly are a global community, and it's always wonderful to see people joining from every corner of the world. So, if you could please, in the comment, tell us which city and country you are tuning in from. It'll be great. I don't think I'll find a way to write there, but there should be at least one Cincelejo, Sucre, Cincelejo, Colombia. That's where I am. And of course, oh, my mic is not set. Is that what you're saying? So sorry, but do it again. Thank you everyone for your patience. And yes, we're having technical difficulties. I would have to log out and log back in. What do you think, Camila? Just 30 seconds. I think it'll be worth the effort. What do you think?
Here. Oh, now. How about now? Are we good? And we have Carrie. Hello from Boise, Idaho, USA. Accra, Ghana. San Francisco, California. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us, and excuse my technical difficulties. Once again, please tell us your city, your country, and we'll go from there. And as you're introducing yourselves in the chat, feel free to tell us what part of the language industry you're involved in as well. What part of the language industry you interpret it as you like. Today's conversation, to get to it, focuses on something we don't talk about often enough. The language industry spends a great deal of time discussing technology, AI, workflows, growth, and much more, but much less time discussing or acknowledging our own community. Even though language itself is one of the most human things we have, today's conversation asks a simple but difficult question. What kind of industry are we creating for the people inside it? Not just professionally, but socially, emotionally, and culturally. Who feels welcome? Who feels safe? Who feels visible? Who feels exhausted? And who never enters the room at all? This panel isn't about finding perfect answers, it's about creating space for reflection, honesty, and conversation. And before we start, a quick reminder, we'll have a Q&A at the end of the session, so please leave your questions in the chat. Leave your thoughts. It doesn't have to be a question. Leave your emojis to express yourself. And if you have any questions, leave them there at the end. We'll connect. If you have a specific question for someone, please write there that is for someone in specific. Of course, you need to share with comments this live stream if you think others should be looking at this conversation. We have Sami from Valencia, España, from London, UK. Too much noise and echo. Do I still have an echo? I'm sorry. No more echoes. Just let me know and we'll sort it. Thank you so much for joining us today. Today I'm joined by three people bringing different experiences and perspectives to this conversation. So let's get us started. First, we have Chantal Kamne, and you'll have to correct me if I'm not pronouncing it correct. I didn't do my homework. Managing Director at Localize and Director of Research at Engage Africa NLP. Chantal's work focuses on multilingual content, language technology, and culturally aware dataset development, particularly in underserved language communities. Welcome, Chantal. Chantal. Hello, hello. I'll continue introducing everyone. Next, we have Caitlin Kiat, localization specialist at Wizards of the Coast. Caitlin's work and advocacy explore intercultural communication, gender inclusive language, and the human side of localization. And finally, we have Fabiano Cid, Chief Solutions Officer at Powerlink, former chair of Gala, industry advocate, and one of the creators of the underrepresented interest groups initiative within women in localization. Welcome, Fabio. Welcome, Caitlin. Welcome, Chantal. And thank you for joining us.
Hi, Eddie.
Hi, thanks so much for having us.
You did not tell me.
We were so
we needed our special shirts. I could have done it. I could have done it.
We're a colorful group, us.
You're all the special ones, and now here I feel like a fool. Eden, welcome. Thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you, Eddie, for having us.
That is wonderful. First, question number one: are you excited about this panel for everyone?
Yay!
Oh my God! Yes, yes. I'm so excited that I lost my voice.
Fabiano is the one with the fun voice.
We will put some great subtitles for Fabiano's voice, and we apologize. We apologize on his behalf. Of course, for us, what's most important about this panel is to give as much context as possible. And the Women in Localization team has done an amazing job to set the stage, to set the audience, and to also set the different sections that we will have in a conversation like today. And of course, we believe that what was most important was to, first of all, begin the conversation with the personal stories. The people behind the conversation, so that this is not theoretical only, and we can actually get in contact with the experiences. So, Caitlin, when do you first feel that you truly belong, or perhaps did not belong, within this industry? Welcome, Caitlin, again.
Thank you. Yeah, funnily enough, the time that I felt that I truly belonged and didn't belong actually happened at the same place. I went to grad school at the Middlebury Institute of International Studies, so MISS. And that was really my first foray into localization. And so my first real encounter with the industry. All of the professors there are working professionals, so do sort of, represent the industry in that way. And I'll start when I felt like I didn't belong, so we can end on a happy note. But I had a professor who, despite telling him my pronouns, telling him repeatedly, I'm not a woman, I'm not a girl, I'm not a lady, please don't call me that, he continued to misgender me. And it got to the point where I couldn't really take his classes anymore, because while I was very interested in what he was teaching, it was a level of emotional turmoil that I didn't really want to go through. Um, on the other hand, though, through my time at Miss, I met so many people, colleagues, professors alike, who were amazing allies and very supportive of me and my gender identity. I wanted to especially shout out Max Troyer. I was his TA, not only because I really enjoyed his classes, but because he was one of my strongest allies at Miss.
Thank you, Caitlin, for sharing your story. And Fabiano, have you ever experienced prejudice or lost opportunities because of who you are? And again, welcome. We love your background and your shirt.
Thank you. This is my kitchen. Um, so I think this is one of the reasons why I stopped at this group, the Whigs, or started thinking about it. I think blunt question is no. Even though I am a gay man, I am white, I'm cis. I've been an entrepreneur virtually all my life, which allowed me to, and I was accepted by my parents. I lived, I had a good social condition. So think privilege, this is what I had. Despite being a member of the LGBTQ plus community, I had a lot of privilege. Um, but I think this is exactly why, and there's a combination of factors that led me to start these discussions. I think the experience that Caitlin has and Chantal has are completely different. I mean, we're going to go into that, but the quick question is no. I wouldn't say that I've suffered any kind of prejudice apart from when I grew old. I think North America has become a place, well, North and South, and this is why I moved to Europe recently. I think there is this obsession with youth that doesn't realize how powerful life experiences can be. And I would say that I've had gay people telling me, you shouldn't be here. You don't belong in here. This is a gay club because I'm too old. I'm 55, very proud. And I think the only time when I started suffering prejudice was because of my age. Not because I was gay, not because anything else, but mostly because of my age. So yes and no.
Once again, thank you for sharing your experiences. Chantal, what makes or has made you genuinely feel welcome in a professional setting? Again, welcome and thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, Eddie. First, I'm going to define what I understand by belonging. For me, belonging and being welcome professionally means that not only I feel personally welcome in a room, but also that the topics that are related to my identities and to the communities that I want to serve, that I care about, are treated as valuable, that they are seen as worthy of investment, both by our clients and the industry. But we all know that diversity is already hard to achieve, and even then, it does not always mean real inclusion. So often, in our industry, in discussion spaces, my English French professional side has benefited from conversations, but my other identities, a BIPOC, African, low resource language practitioner, and other identities contributed to diversity, but without benefiting much from the discussions because of how things are usually set up. So a great moment of feeling genuinely welcome for me was when Fabiano, sorry Fabiano for thanking you in public, I am almost getting emotional. Fabiano invited me to help design an initiative that would empower underrepresented communities and with access and impact in the industry.
That is a wonderful story, Chantal. And of course, I want to make sure that everyone who's watching also takes a moment to think about if you've ever felt pressure to hide part of yourself professionally. Feel free to share your thoughts. Feel free to share your experiences, your success experiences, as well as those failures that you've had. And I'll take the opportunity now to say hi to those in Foster City, California, Argentina, Caracas, Venezuela, Luxembourg, Singapore, Ottawa, Canada. So we have plenty of people watching from all around the world. So we're really grateful. Please share once again your city, your country, and also please share your own experiences. Caitlin, you mentioned that your experience kind of went from sour to happier, and of course, you can identify in a professional space what feels emotionally safe or welcoming to you. Can you outline what your position is on it?
Yeah, I think there are a lot of ways to achieve this, both big and small. Speaking from a non-binary perspective, I think I knew I was in a safe environment at work when I saw the number of folks using their pronouns in their email signature, for example. And when you first enter the office, right at the security desk, there's a little container of pronoun pins. They have all sorts. You can pick out what you want to use. Um, there are also little ways in which my coworkers and manager alike have demonstrated that they genuinely care about honoring my identity. So, for example, using both sets of my pronouns or asking me questions to make sure they don't accidentally misgender me, or not really making a big deal out of it if they accidentally do. And I think a really big step in the right direction is just being self-aware, uh, trying to like self-educate, self-interrogate. What are stereotypes or biases you might hold? How do they inform the way you think? And maybe how you can better support the diverse folks around you.
Thank you, Caitlin and Chantal. Perhaps you can help us understand this even further. There seems to be an understanding that this environment then translates into a representation, leadership spaces, conference speakers, public visibility in localization. So, what do you see right now? What things do you think need to happen for it to look different?
Um, well, our industry tends to give a voice and visibility to people who already have access to professional networks and leadership opportunities, and to center discussions around dominant markets. So when you are underrepresented, you are also often underserved. And sometimes you are not served at all because content is often 100% selected for the majorities, and anything else than what matters for the majority is considered as niche, and it is not included. So this silences minorities, and it makes them invisible in leadership spaces and at events where advocacy is made, decisions are taken that can influence professional development, resource allocation, or market expansion. So I think more transparency and intentionality in selecting topics, like creating categories, would help.
Thank you, Chantal. Caitlin, and of course, what would ask, and this is what we internally also ask, a multilingual. Is this good? Why should we care? Why what role does psychological safety play in professional growth? Because if it doesn't matter, then why are we even gonna look into it and make changes in how the way we operate?
Sure. Yeah. Truthfully, I think a huge reason that I'm able to thrive in the position that I am today is due to the support of my colleagues and my manager. I feel safe to be my authentic self at work, and that means that I also feel safe to suggest work process improvements or go to my manager actively and say, hey, maybe we should re-examine some of these uh, antiquated documentation, stuff like that. I think if I wasn't really able to be fully present, feel fully safe in my career, I would certainly be a much less successful localizer and certainly a more tired one for all the masking that I would have to do. I think it plays a huge role in allowing folks to actually blossom in their own professional careers, feeling psychologically safe.
Thank you. That's wonderful to hear. And Chantal, in terms of accessibility, I understand, of course, there's a lot of regulations that are involved. There's a lot of compliance, but what's behind it truly? Can you scope the conversation for us?
In terms of compliance, there are things to think about a lot, like whether systems and events are accessible to professionals with disabilities, the format and design of things. But I think there are crucial considerations beyond that. Who feels seen, who is supported, who feels safe, who gets access to knowledge, who gets to knowledge that's relevant to them, who gets to contribute to knowledge. So for professionals with underrepresented identities, access means not only being present in the room, but it also means that they are able to benefit from knowledge and research, and to present their expertise from the perspective of their life experience. I can illustrate that. We can step out of the industry 1 second and do what we like to do, criticize society outside the industry, and lecture decision makers on language access. So my example is going to show that even a global majority like French-speaking people get sidelined in an environment when they are a minority. And this means that being sidelined does not reflect the value of a community. So among other identities, I'm a French-speaking Ontarian and in Canada, and I'm part of the Diversity, Inclusion, Anti-Oppression Advisory Committee. And I once was advocating for the city's crisis communication and documentation, public emergency signage to be available in, at minimum, both official languages. And I got the reply that there was not enough demand in French, which is a minority language, to justify the investment. But I was literally there. I was there. I was representing the French-speaking community in this case, and I was presenting the demand. And I'm literally part of the advisory committee. So we can laugh at the situation, but the truth is that we do the same in the industry. We resist anything that does not immediately benefit the perceived majority, and we hope that professionals from minority would want to invest time, membership, registration, and travel to come and present more demand. So for me, accessibility beyond compliance, it means that we design space with people in mind before they have to ask, before they have to justify, before they have to adapt or prove that there is enough demand.
Thank you, Chantal, and thank you everyone who is still commenting on our different live streams on YouTube and LinkedIn. I can let you know we also have people from Bangladesh, Poland, Lothrop in Sweden, Barcelona, and of course we had asked originally as well if you could tell us what you do in the language industry. We have greetings from Argentina. I'm happy to say that I've had the opportunity to support our team on gender inclusive language projects, primarily involving Spanish. Asmuth is I'm a freelancer, Rohingya medical interpreter working for many years. We also had a certified medical interpreter, Ed Olvera. Thank you so much, everyone, for sharing your experiences with all of us. And remember, at the end, we're going to have a Q&A session. So put your questions as well. And if you're going to direct them to anyone in particular, this is your opportunity. I have to say it's hard to catch Fabiano. So come on, you need to do it now, today. And Fabiano, I have you here. Please help us solve it all. What would a truly human-centered language industry would look like? And you tell us what the utopia looks like. You have a blank check here.
Well, I think we're starting to do it. I think the work has started happening a while ago. I think women localization is one of the pioneers in transforming this industry more human centric. I recently ran a webinar with Alison Toon, and this is I've been quoting her, and a lot of people have been saying this at these times when we know what AI is doing, amazing things, but also taking away lots of people's jobs. I think as industry folks, we need to regain our role and AI in the loop, human in the center. And when we say human in the center, we need to open up to all humans. It's not the white, cis, straight human in the northern hemisphere. We need to look at the black folks, the trans black women who was, at the bottom of the spectrum of society. We need to look at the non-binary folks. We need to look at the aging folks, women and people who menstruate and who are undergoing menopause. This is a conversation that I had with Sophie Solomon, who's, by the way, sat on the sofa. It was an amazing conversation. So I think this is a human-centered industry that we're aiming for. An industry that looks at the people who built industry, whether with as much visibility as we all had, or with less visibility, but who are taken care of, but who are also given a voice. I think, and Chantal, thank you for this. You always make me emotional to think about it. But I saw you being, raising your voice and being, occupying spaces. And I think this is paramount for us to understand the value of listening to these people. We had the opportunity. It was Lock Road. By the way, congratulations, Multilingual, being part of the group. You've just acquired Lock Road. And it was a beautiful event. And we had so much representation of people who were not represented otherwise. We had Nova Patch. I think I saw Nova in the chat room. Carrie Fisher distributing the pronoun pins, and we're going to talk about the wigs soon. But we had Alex Iraq, who's also part of the group, non-binary as well, talking about inclusive language on stage at Lock Road. This is unthinkable. We had an LGBTQ plus allies dinner. We had so many activities happening around the theme, because we also made an effort to bring the wigs to the front and to the surface. And I'm so happy that we're doing this, because I think this industry is democratic in nature, but needs to start looking outside of its bubble. We need to start looking down south. We need to look at minority languages, because this is the future of AI as well. The AI, 70% with English, Eurocentric or US centric, white. This is not what will take us further. It's the diversity, it's the inclusion, it's representation of everyone, not only in this industry, but everywhere.
Fabiano, so why don't you tell us a bit more then about why we are here today? Tell us about the work the team is doing, and about the new initiatives in women in localization, and let's talk about what we want to achieve from here on.
Thank you, Adi. Yes, and thank you for giving us this platform to talk about this, Adi. I get emotional, I get excited, so apologies
Good.
if I sound, I get
Should be.
militant, and I get.
Yes, it's like real life.
I think, yeah, because this is so important. And when I see, our meetings, we've been meeting. So let me go back. 2 or 3 years ago, I think it was during the pandemic, we had an LGBTQ panel. I was part of it. I think it was one of the first in the industry. Caitlin was in the audience. Caitlin reached out and said, I would love to do something around this, because I said, we need to do more. It was, I was crazy busy. There was a lot going on, but it always, kept that message in my inbox. I have a special place in my inbox. Years later, I think because I started suffering prejudice, going back to your first question, Eddie, I started realizing if I'm feeling prejudice because of my age, I started looking beyond. My husband is a millennial. Uh, he's in the room, by the way. His friends non-binary and trans and everyone in the gender fluidity spectrum. And I started realizing how important it is to pay attention and how much talent there is outside of our own groups. And I started reaching out and I thought, I have this platform, and you know, following the advice of Greta Thunberg, if you have a platform and you're not doing anything about it, history will judge you. And since I'm very scared of judgment, I thought I need to do something about this. So I reached out to Carrie Fisher, who is also on the Wigs. We presented the idea to the board. Anna, thank you for coming. Thank you. Anna is the president of Women Localization. They accepted the idea on the board and we started working. For the past 6 months, we've been working weekly, meeting and having very enlightening, very inspirational, and very emotional meetings. Lately, like we cry every meeting because we get excited about it. So we decided that this is the first wig we're launching. It's the pilot LGBTQ plus wig that was launched in January 1st. We had a series of activities, of initiatives around this idea. And thank you again, Multilingual. We have a gorgeous article written by our very own Caitlin here and Alex. You must read it on Multilingual. Thank you for opening that space for us. Caitlin, I hope you can have time to talk about it. So let me be a little more concise. I presented with Alex, as I said, on non-binary. Nova was there at Lockroad. We had the distribution of our first pronoun badge guidance for conference organizers. The launch was June 1st, Pride Month. So we did all these activities. This is I think, one of the last activities that we have for the month. And WIGS, as the name says, is underrepresented interest groups. We're starting with LGBTQ+. Next, Chantal will be leading the BIPOC for Black, Indigenous, and people of color, people from that community. And then we want to expand to talk to Sophie Solomon to talk about menopause, do a menopause group. We want to do about people with disability, whether visible disability or invisible disabilities. We're talking about body. So we want to reach out to people whose bodies, colors, minds, and genders and geographies and cultures and languages are not well represented today. We want to give them a voice. We want to create a safe space for them to exchange, to have discussions, and to create recommendations for the industry. The first recommendation was the pronoun badge guidance. We had pronouns. I should have mine here. I'm going to pick it up while someone is answering. So we had women localization pronoun badges for people who were crazy about it. Everyone loved it. Everyone was wearing them. You could choose your pronoun, he, she, or they. But there is more coming up, and we will keep you updated. We have a LinkedIn group. We're gathering the candidates, and the activities will continue just right after summer. Sorry, I talked too much. Go ahead, Eddie.
And thank you. Of course, I want to get your impressions, Caitlin and Chantal, on what is happening, how you are receiving it, and what do you see it's becoming evident as potential, the benefits of that are going to come out of this initiative.
Do you want to go first, Chantal?
You are muted. I can read your lips though. I'm really good.
This is my specialty, speaking while muted.
Thank you.
So yeah, I think this is about the kind of communities that we want younger professionals to inherit. We should want them to inherit communities where they do not have to fight so hard to belong. I would also like them to feel that their knowledge is valuable and strategic, that it is not marginal, it is not extra, it is not niche. Because any sort of underrepresentation is not, it does not reflect the lack of value. It reflects underinvestment. So, Kathleen, maybe you can say more.
Yeah, I completely agree. I feel very hopeful, very excited that we are actively creating this space, this intentional community. Um, it is a level of belonging that I feel like I've looked for in my own career. The first few non binary localizers I met, I went, wow, there are other people like me out there, and they're probably going through similar challenges that I am. Um, Similarly, when I met my first non binary people leader at Wizards, who is now my mentor, um, it was really exciting because I could see a path forward that I hadn't seen before. There's a level of I can potentially be a people leader, I can be a producer or a director. Um, so I'm hoping that this initiative can inspire these feelings in other folks and can also drive change within our industry that is meaningful and positive.
Thank you. And I want to use the opportunity to say hi to all of those who are saying hi from Chihuahua, Mexico. Nora Diaz, Rasha, Elshia, hello, Anna, Schlegel, Go Fabi, Sammy. Love that everyone has such a fun shirt, except for me. They excluded me from the anyways. Carla from Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, formerly with NMT on Sistran, now code developing AI-based tools to translate and transcribe locally on PC. Ping me if you want to test a sample. is that did I just do an ad? Did I? I think I just did. San Diego, California from Egypt. Malak, hello. Yes, thank you everyone for saying that. Conrado from Mexico City as well, hello everyone, thank you for staying here with us. And of course we are expecting, remember, put your questions in there. We are expecting um a potential movement also from the communities, from the audience. If I'd like to get involved, if I like to know more, if I like to explore, read, put a PDF in my Kindle, what steps are there for us to make right now? And we're really glad I'm multilingual. We know there are different types of stages, different types of channels. We're using them as much as we can. What can individuals do at their companies, especially those in leadership positions as well? Caitlin and Chantal and Fabiano, we've talked about how much responsibility is there, not turning kind of like your shoulder on the conversations, but rather at least opening them with open arms. I don't know what thoughts you might have, Caitlin. If we might begin with you.
Sure, yeah. I honestly think that there's there's a tendency for folks to see underrepresented minority leaders as sort of figureheads for an entire group of people. It's the old like, oh, you're insert minority here. Tell me what you think about this. And while individual voices can be really powerful and impactful, um, it can also create a lot of pressure to talk on behalf of a whole community of folks who are all individuals themselves and they have their own thoughts and opinions. And this is why it's not only important to have uh, many minority voices in leadership positions, so there's a diversity of thoughts and voices there as well, but community powered action, such as we're hoping to create in the WIG group. It can allow for voices that are traditionally not present or who are spoken over to come together, create tangible change, and hopefully see themselves reflected in others. If you are a leader who isn't a part of a minority group, maybe take some time to look inward and maybe look outward. Do some reading for yourself. Talk to the folks who are diverse around you. Really listen. And hopefully that will also inspire growth and change within you as well.
I think for me it means that we create safe spaces. That's spaces where people can speak honestly without being punished, dismissed, tokenized, not having to constantly translate their experience into terms that make others comfortable. The people cannot grow if they are always managing self-censoring, managing the pressure to prove that they belong. They don't, so that we don't feel like inviting underrepresented professionals. We feel invited to be visible, but not given influence, decision-making power, or long-term support.
Renato, Renato had mentioned when we, acquired, and I'd say as a group acquired Log World, the impact that or the compound effect that we could have in terms of giving footing and visibility to different conversations. I think there are many opportunities that are going to be opening up within the next few months, and I hope that the events that are coming up can provide us that opportunity. I was so happy to see your sofa at Log World, Fabiano, and I already see, we already physically seeing how we are creating different channels, different stages to continue all the conversations that we might have. I want to open up for some questions, and I'll let you comment these ones, Fabiano, as well. Carrie Livermore, she's mentioning Livermore Fish. If you're interested in learning more or just starting a conversation, feel free to email us at uigs@womeninlocalization.com. Fabiano, what happens when someone sends an email to you?
So the weeks at Women Localization, all of us from the pilot will receive the email. At the moment, we're collecting interest parties information. We need a break. So we're taking, I think I've been saying this and I contaminated everyone else. But so we're taking a break also to assess the initiatives to do something, because this is really important, this is really critical, and it can backfire if we don't do it in a solid and safe way. We have a lot to learn, and this is because we're creating safe spaces for people who are not necessarily for whose needs we're not necessarily fully aware. We're trying to create a space for trans people who are the target of aggression, and either online or physical. So we need to make sure that all of these people with disabilities, how do we create a safe space for them where they are fully enjoying the experience of being part of the WIGS? So we're doing it slowly, even though I'm a little anxious person. We're doing it slowly, so we're giving ourselves time to prepare, to aggregate the ideas, receive feedback, but do write to us to wigs at womenlocalization.com. We are receiving the information from the candidates, and we're vetting every candidate. When I say candidate, people are who show interest. They are vetted again to maintain the safety, the confidentiality, and everything around the whole experience of the wigs. So write to us. We will provide you with as much information as we have. We have a full charter at the moment. We have some operational procedures in place, our manuals, but we need input from people from all these varied communities, so that we can move forward. But the plan is this: we're taking kind of a break. We're not meeting as often as we were. The activities will be held up until the end of the summer, when we start officially the two WIGs, BIPOC and LGBTQ, preparing again to next year. We will have more communities involved, and we will have everything ready to go.
Thank you, Fabiano, for sharing. And before I ask my final question, and I let you go enjoy your colorful and happy shirt, I'll let you enjoy that. Uh, we want to read a few different comments Carrie Livermore as well. She says, for the record, you are my heroes, Fabi, Chantal, and Caitlin. So grateful and humble to
Oh,
be part of this initiative. We also have people from Ireland, from Cambridge, UK. Um, Unconscious bias is everywhere. Someone comments, once you are aware of it, you can consider it and how you respond to and handle various situations. I'm really happy to have you all here, all of those that are joining us live on LinkedIn and YouTube. And before we go, what gives you hope? We could do rock, paper, scissors to go who goes first. We could do alphabetical. We could take you decide.
I can go first, totally. Also, I just want to be sure to be explicit. The LGBTQ plus WIG group, which is also spelled UIG, so it's if you want the email, don't not it's not WIG, just to make sure everyone knows underrepresented interest groups. um, the LGBTQ plus group is not, even though we are under the umbrella of women in localization, is not just for women. I am a non-binary person, and I am a part of this pilot initiative. Everyone under the LGBTQ plus umbrella is welcome. So please feel free to join in. Um, what gives me hope, though? Um, gosh, it's I think I think right now for a lot of queer and trans and non-binary Americans, specifically speaking from my own experience as well, I think it's especially hard to exist in this political moment. There's a lot of fear around changing legislation, and honestly, rightfully so. There's some laws that have been created in various places to create really hostile, if not impossible, living conditions for our community. One of the examples that I always think of is what's been going on in Kansas. And so there's this level of pressure, but on the other hand, I've seen so much community response and aid, people showing up for other folks to get them out of hostile situations and set them up in safe places, generosity of time and effort and money. I think there's also a level of continuing presence that is also very comforting. So looking around and seeing my fellow queer and trans and non-binary friends thriving, it reminds me that even in challenging times, that there's a potential for happiness and there's a reality of happiness as well. Um, we are here. We have always been here, and we will continue to be here, and we are not alone.
and we're not going back to the closet.
No, it's
It's a
too cramped
very
in there.
dark and
Too many
humid
fabulous
place.
shirts. Can't go back in the closet.
Go ahead, Chantal.
Okay, what gives me hope for the industry and society in general? It's the younger generation. They are smart, they are open, they are critical, they are less willing to accept inclusion as normal. They're asking all the difficult questions about gender, power, societal norms, race, disability, age, bias, orientation, and identity in general. But I think that the hope does not release us from the responsibility to prepare the ground for them. It does not release us from the responsibility to challenge harmful norms and make sure that we leave the industry, that they inherit an industry that is more inclusive than when we entered.
This gives me a lot of hope. I think seeing how the world is trying to move backwards, and we're resisting, and we are putting our strength together, as Caitlin said. But more importantly, I think how we are managing to prove the importance of these activities, not only on a humanitarian level, but also from an economic point of view. We matter, we pay taxes, we spend money, and we're successful. And we are damn talented. So once we start realizing, I think this is what's important, once people and companies and governments start realizing how much loss has been made with pushing people to the side and keeping it secluded to a certain group, the idea of diversity has to come back from it's again, of course, the humanitarian aspect will also always be important, but that we live in a capitalist world, unfortunately, where money still is, the currency of exchange. So we need to prove how important we are. Not only we're not giving visibility to these people. Oh, because put them. No, they're not poor. They're amazing. They're fantastic. They're fabulous people. Look at these people in here, and this is why we're giving them a voice and a space and the stage.
Thank you, Fabiano, and I'm really sure that our audience is feeling inspired, and a lot of action and impact will come out of our conversations, which is the intent that we can have here. We have some questions. Remember, if you haven't asked your questions, this is the moment to do so. You might not have this opportunity as Fabiano is going to enjoy his summer. There's no more. He's gonna be tanning. He's gonna be sunbathing, and this is it. This is the moment to ask those wonderful questions. How can I build a more inclusive MTG deck?
That's a great question. The one thing that I can super highlight immediately are we have a secret lair drop, or this might be a little bit hard to wrangle together. You might have to do some shopping around, but we did have a pride drop. There are fabulous cards in that. There are also lots of gender diverse planeswalkers if you're really into the kind of the lore around Magic the Gathering. This is, sorry, MTG is Magic the Gathering. I should clarify. And there's also a real diversity of like races of folks, shapes of folks. And we also feature all sorts of animals, spirits, wild illustrations, corpses. I don't know. So it depends on what you mean by inclusive. But if you're talking in terms of LGBTQ plus, definitely check out the Pride drop that we did a few years back. And some of our cool gender inclusive, awesome trans and non-binary planeswalkers.
By the way, this question comes from Nova Patch, who just presented at Lock Road a beautiful session called Queer Localization. So reach out to Nova. And here's my pronoun pin with a he. Sorry, Eddie. It's
No, thank you, thank
host
you.
syndrome.
I love this. I don't have to do anything. I love it. Fabricia says it's so important for us allies to learn all this insight. Thank you all so much for sharing such personal thoughts. Sammy says thank you all for sharing these important insights. And there's a question from Shirley Code. I don't know how to pronounce it. I took a course on unconscious bias once, and it was truly eye-opening. I still use examples from that to call out bias. Would you consider offering something like that publicly?
Should I answer?
Yeah, you don't
Surely,
know.
we're not experts in unconscious bias. I think unconscious bias, or the interest in unconscious bias, when I learned about it, I started to be more aware of everything. I think Matt just talked about it. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name, but I recommend looking for unconscious bias to learn about how we react to certain things, ideas, people, situations. We're not experts in that. I think there are people who are more capable of doing it. The wigs are a space for gathering, for discussion, and for recommendation. It could be a recommendation. One of the recommendations could be go do your unconscious bias course. But I don't know if we will ever promote or offer such courses. But that's a good idea.
All right. Anna Schlegel also asked earlier, what is one thing we can do during meetings to support you?
I think pronouns is an easy way. Put your pronouns on everywhere. I sometimes forget, I must be honest. It's an effort, it's an exercise. Put it on your social media profiles, on your Zoom profiles. Well, I think we put ours here everywhere. It shows that you care, especially for people for whom, because you just take for granted. Yeah, I've always been a he. Is there something else? Yes, there's so many more pronouns, and they value. So I think it's a it's a tiny action that makes a huge difference for people who do not have the same experience that you do.
Thank you very much, Fabiano. I don't know if Chantal or Caitlin want to add anything before we go. Any final thoughts? Anything you think we should say? Final call.
I think we are. Am I muted again? Okay, no, I'm not. I think the industry should stop avoiding or should start having conversations about power. Who controls budgets, technology, inclusive technology for people with disabilities, like, for example, visual disabilities, language priorities. Not only care about dominant markets, talk about other underserved, under-resourced markets as well. Also bias that shows up in assumptions about credibility, geography, accent, and all of those things. We need to talk about that, and I think that will help the industry.
Yeah, my concluding thoughts are simply just to say thank you so much for allowing us to have this conversation. And thank you to everyone who has tuned in. Really appreciate being given a platform like this to talk about our existence and the localization industry and how we can create change.
Fabiano Sid, thank you very much then. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Fabiano. Thank you, Chantal. Thank you, Caitlin. You've shared your thoughts with us, and I think it has been a tremendous panel. We had many live attendees, and we want to thank them for participating in our conversation beyond visibility, representation, belonging, and impact in localization. We hope you continue sharing this webinar, and we'll be sharing snippets of these amazing speakers that we've had today. Thank you for those experiences, perspectives, and insights. And thank you, everyone who joined us from around the world in every continent. Language is ultimately about connection, understanding, and humanity. If our industry wants to lead conversations about communication across cultures and communities, then we also have to be willing to examine how we treat the people within our own spaces. Community does not happen automatically simply because people work in the same industry. It is something we build intentionally through dignity, accessibility, care, accountability, and the willingness to make room for one another. Hopefully today's conversation is not an ending, but part of a much longer reflection about what kind of industry we want to become and are becoming. Thank you for joining us. And if you enjoyed this discussion, make sure you follow Localization Today on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and multilingual.com. Take care, everyone, and we will see you next time. Goodbye.
Bye.